Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of This Generation Show. And we are proudly brought to you by the HD Plus Decoder, the Feely Feely Experience, and supported by the Niche Education Support for all your affordable educational supplies, and Zealand Fun Road, a fun place for children at the Legon City Mall. And today we have a very interesting topic coming out your way. And we have wonderful guests as well. And we even have an entertainment journalist. But before I introduce them, we'll go for a short break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Are you ready for the season 3 of the HD Plus essay writing competition for pupils in Basic 4 to JHS? If yes, then the countdown starts now in the extended registration for pupils and schools in the Ashanti region, Central region, Eastern region, and the Upper East region. Schools and pupils in Accra can also take advantage to enroll their wards now. Yes, it's the season 3 of the HD Plus This Generation Essay Writing Competition. Let's build our confidence and exhibit our writing and reading skills to inspire our generations. Schools and individuals can call 055 1376 979 to enroll now. Terms and conditions apply. Registration extended to 31st May 2023. HD Plus This Generation Essay Writing. Let's write to inspire. The HD Plus This Generation Essay Writing Competition is proudly brought to you by...
Hello, everyone. Welcome from that short break. If you just tuned in, you are watching This Generation Show. And my name is Kendra Arthur, and I'm your host for today's. And we are proudly sponsored by the HD Plus Decoder, the Feely Feely Experience, and supported by Zealand Fun World, a fun place located at the Legon City Mall for children to play, have fun with even their parents, and Niche Education Support for all your educational supplies. And today we have a very interesting topic with wonderful people over here, and I would like them to introduce themselves.
My name is Nyako Tawaka from Amaya Community School.
My name is Kojo King, and I'm an entertainment journalist and an UC seller.
Okay, and I'm Jania Kasi from Pentecost School, Mandela.
Okay, so today's topic is about impacts of social media on children. So we all hear social media. What at all is social media?
I think social media is a digital platform of interaction where people share content and ideas.
Koje Kim, please can you tell us something about
This thing? Estimated that is a digital platform, applications where people can meet, connect, and interact. So we can talk about Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And the baby is that people can connect with each other. As we are seated here, we are socializing, but this one is done on the internet or on the digital platforms. So that is social media for me.
So, local, do you think we children need social media?
Yes, I am a teen and I strongly believe that we children need social media because as we grow up, we would have things that we need to contribute to our social upbringing. So if a child isn't exposed to social media, and I think some of the opportunities or knowledge the child would get would be limited because, for instance, if you take a child, a 3-year-old baby, who is not exposed to, let's say, YouTube in this context, maybe showing the child nursery rhymes and all those things. In one way or the other, the child is using social media because that is where people are sharing their ideas. So I think social media is needed by children.
How about you, Jamila?
I also think yes, it's a yes for me because in this current state of the world, it's technology that's leading. So for instance, our education like this, there are different applications you can use to improve on your languages, your maths, your science, and others. So and it really impacts in children. So let's use this example. We are in a school, and then my teacher teaches me something, and I don't really understand. And the teacher is gone or it's closing. When I go home and I just go to Google or any search engine, I can just get more understanding from what the teacher has taught, and I'll even get better understanding. So I think it really impacts in children.
Okay, so we have heard from Timula and Noko would like to get further education.
Okay, so I support we allow them to have access to internet. But social media is a different work game altogether, because most of these apps, it is rated unless maybe you are about 18 and about age before you can even subscribe to some of these social media platforms. So I can say it is not every social media platform that will be healthy for our children, but the use of internet must be encouraged. As Jamila said, we can go there and learn a lot, but social media counts with a lot of. I'm telling you that if care is not taken, children might rather be exposed to certain other things that we don't want. That will not be more educative but distracting.
Okay, so are there any specific, like, suitable handles for children, social media platforms for children to use?
Okay, for instance, YouTube, that is a place that there's a lot of information over there. Whatever you need to learn, you can find it there. But in as much as there are educative materials, there are also certain content that can be helpful to the child. So in a bid not to harm them by allowing them to have access to social media, we need to be careful and we need to check them, monitor them on the things evolved to social media or YouTube for. For instance, you want to learn about how to cook. Yes, there are materials on YouTube that you can say, but equally, there are other information that may not be working for the child. And so we have certain controls. We have what we call the parental control. That as a parent, you can set limit to certain platforms that your child can have access to. But many parents do not know about it. So they give the phone to the child will search, and other information will pop up. So before you realize, the child is learning something different other than the best things that you have to do. But if the child is not up to that certain place that they can really decide from what is good or what is bad, we can give them access to the internet, but social media, we need to be very measured with it.
Okay. So now, we know you use social media, right?
Yes.
And how has it helped you?
Okay. Social media has helped me know more about what is going on around me. For example, if I use TikTok and I browse through, I will notice that some people are showing videos of what is happening in their country. Some people too are making jokes about certain situations that are happening in their country. So social media promotes awareness in my life. It shows me about everything that goes on, whether in my current location and outside.
Okay, how about you?
To me, social media has basically been somewhere I go for education. Most of the times, it's being said that apps like Facebook and TikTok are like exposed to certain things, but at that same time, that same Facebook is also exposed to groups like Let's Speak English and a whole lot. So I also think that sometimes it depends on what the child goes there to do, because as much as that app is very bad, it has also like some good impact. So to me, social media has been like this mountain that it's helping me with my educational background.
Gotcha. So there's this word, it's trend. They call it a trend all over social media. So can you briefly explain to us what a trend is?
Okay, when we talk about trend, social media trend, we are talking about content that becomes so popular within a space of time. So you can realize, let's say, recently, with people are talking about Father Bernard. It is trending everywhere. So that is trend for you. It goes viral. It's everywhere. The likelihood that when you log on into any social media platform, you may see that content. So we can say it is trending. And it doesn't last long. It is within a very short period of time. You can trend in a positive way. You can also trend in a very negative way.
Okay, so in one of Norco's statements, she said children, young children, use it to watch rhymes and the rest. But let's take, for instance, YouTube. Sometimes there are these ads that come. So how can that stop? Like, how do you set?
Okay. So how can we do that? Because those who develop this app, they also know the data in it. So they added certain features that we could use to restrict them. And so on every phone, there is something called parental control. Even when you go on YouTube, you inquire parental control. And as a parent, when you buy a phone for your child, you can set limits. You can even set up to the amount of time they spend on the phone. You can add the limit of it to spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or 1 hour on your phone. And you can restrict all these apps. You can restrict Facebook, YouTube, and other platforms, or other content that will be harmful to your work. So if the child picks the phone and the child wants to go to YouTube, you can restrict certain content that will be harmful. Because as I said earlier, in as much as you are going to learn, there are other contents that is possible you may find. And if you are not lucky and we don't guide them and the chance upon some of these contents, you may find yourself wanting, it may affect your work in a long run. So parental control is on apps. It's on YouTube. I wish every parent who have bought laptops, phones for their children to use that feature, restrict certain content that will be helpful. So when you open it, any material that is relevant to the child will pop up, but not the harmful one.
Okay, I want to say something. YouTube created a sign up which is now for YouTube Kids for children up to 12 or 13 years old, which restricts some amount of or some limited content from appearing to children's view. So if some parents are not able to actually use their parental guidance on their YouTube app, they can download the YouTube Kids, which has already been done for them, so that children have access to what is actually good for them.
So is it advisable for a child to use a phone?
Yes, in our modern world, we know technology, internet, a lot of information is there that the children need. It is not good to restrict them, or definitely, even when they grow up, they will use it. And it will be better they learn how to use it before they grow up. So it is good to give them this phone, but know that there are consequences. Even some can become addicted. There are some kids that you think they are asleep, but they will be still awake, be on their phone, eye fatigue, it can stress them up. Some of them can even start not mingling themselves with their peers because of social media or because spending too much time on the internet. So you have to be aware of some of these consequences. That my child has the phone, they do research on the phone, but there are other devices that may not be good for them. So know how to restrict. If you don't know how to restrict these things, then I will tell you it will not be appropriate to hand the phone to your child, because you can control the kind of materials they will access. But if you can control that, then it will be okay to hand over the phone to them.
If you just tune in, you are watching This Generation Show, and it's G-Talk segment with me, Kendra Arthur, and I have here Norco, Kojokin, and Jamila, and we are proudly sponsored by the HD Plus Decoder the Feely Feely experience, and supported by Niche Education Support for all your educational supplies and Zealand Fund Wall. We are having a great time here on the discussion of impacts of social media on children. But before we continue, we'd like to go for a short break and we'll be right back.
Score HD, the new exciting football channel, is now available only on HD Plus and brings you football from around the world. Watch Sadio Mane and Daniel Kufitre in the top weekly match of the Bundesliga 1 and DFB Cup, Primera Liga, Copa de la Liga Profesional, see Ronaldo in the Saudi Pro League, as well as daily sports news every other hour. Also, get updated on Messi and Mbappe on PSG TV and many more. Feely Feely on HD Plus channel 151. Agronaede HD Plus, the Feely Feely experience.
Welcome from that short break. If you just tuned in, you are watching This Generation Show, and my name is Kendra Arthur, and we are proudly sponsored by the HD Plus Decoder, the Feely Feely experience, and supported by Niche Education Support and Zealand Fund World. And we are still on the discussion impact of social media on children. So now, Paul, before we went on the break, he said with the use of YouTube, it has helped other children discover some DIY, the do-it-yourself. So are there anyone personally?
Okay, so I had a science project and I had no idea how or when to start. So I had to go and look at how to make a DIY windmill. And I thought it was impossible, but some people have broken down the steps, like made simple DIYs and complicated ones. So I went for the simple DIY where I had all the materials I needed to make a windmill. So that's one of the DIYs I've tried.
So how about you, production?
In my field of work, I use social media a lot to project myself. And there are certain details that you need. And you go onto YouTube and all the other platforms, you will find it. Even there was a time there was a challenge on TikTok, and there was a song and they did a challenge, and I participated in that, and my went viral. So I could say even me releasing my first ever commercial song was because of TikTok, how my music was trending over there, and now I can call myself a musician. And so that is a benefit of social media. It is a very good thing. It is a very, very, very good thing that we need to make note of. But there are other things.
Okay, do social media have impact on us?
Children. Yes, it has. And it can be positive or negative. You can learn a lot of things. Well, like if you can even go on TikTok, there are a lot of educative material, same as YouTube and other platforms. So on that aspect, we can say it has a negative, positive impact. Even learning of how to discover their talent, most of them can learn that on social media. But the other side of it, that is the problem. Because even on TikTok now, there are lots of content, people exposing themselves and all of that. And that can be helpful to your child. Yes, so we have certain apps that is suitable for children. So we need to make sure that when you hand them over the course, you download those apps or those learning materials for them, whilst you restrict the other side of it. Aside that, it is good to allow them, but you need to guide them.
Now, what do you think about the impacts of social media on we children?
Okay, I agree that social media has a both negative and positive impact on children. On the positive side, social media helps children to become very creative because some of them go to YouTube, TikTok, Google, and other social media platforms to gather ideas and create something of their own. For example, a child who is learning how to make beads in school can come online and look at some other artworks related to beads of people, and in one way or the other may merge those people's designs and create a new idea. Social media also helps them become aware of what is around them. They know about what is happening in other countries, whether good or bad news. They know what is happening within their country. And social media also keeps a child more happy. I agree that yes, they might have physical friends and people they interact with, but because we are going technological, the children need to be exposed to laughter and other sides of the world that make them happy. So social media will make them very happy or make them very interactive with what is around them. And then on the negative side, children can become very addicted to social media. Causes may be from their friends who are already on some social platforms which their parents may have restricted them from, but will end up finding ways and means to remove those restrictions and coming onto it. And then another negative impact is that they may be exposed to things that they're not supposed to know at their age. Maybe if they go to Google and they are searching something, a porn app or porn ad would just pop up on their screen, and them not knowing what to do might end up clicking on it or waiting for it to load instead of them to exit the app immediately, and then they become addicted or exposed to that media.
And how about you, Jimmy?
Okay, I about 100% agree with Noko in the sense that she made mention of children using social media to improve on their talent. It's a very great initiative because if I don't know something, the way the world is moving right now, going to libraries and work maybe at museums and others to look for just little artifacts. With my convenience, I can just sit in my house and then go pull it up, type it on any of these social media platforms, and then it will pop up. So all this, if I really see it to be this two-sided thing, positive and it's negative at the same time, with the negative impacts of social media on children, fraud is also part.
So, Kojo, we want specific and suitable apps for we children that we can use.
To me, if you are not up to 18 years, I wouldn't advise that we allow children to know that speed, because these apps, it is a requirement. Before you subscribe to it, they ask about your lead unless you deceive them. So why did they do that? Because they know the app comes with a lot of things that may not be right for your kids. But I encourage the use of internet because we can learn a lot of things. So I will advise that we allow the children to use internet. Where it is guided, we employ the use of all these parental control guidelines and all of that, so that they can have access. Some even have their computers at home and they have access to internet. And you need to set limits so that if they are there to learn, they will learn about it. And also a lot of education needs to be there. Even when they are 18 and they are now coming on social media, they should be aware of the positives and the negatives on there. So that when they come, they can be able to determine the rights from the wrongs. So a lot of education needs to be done here because they know. My sisters, you all are aware of social media. There are some things that you are already watching and knowing. So we don't have to hide it from you, but we need to educate you on the positives and the negatives. But we have study apps that children can learn. Like YouTube, there are a lot of materials on there. And it's like a world encyclopedia. Anything you want. We can't give you specific. It's about talent development, it's about science, mathematics, everything you can find it. But they need to be guided on what kind of material they want to use for work.
Actually, no hope. Can you give the children out there some advice or one or two words?
Okay. Kojo King stated that we should have to be 18 years and have some awareness of social media before you actually join social media. But I want to advise children who have already seen the negative impact of social media and their lives. If you think you are less than 18 years old and you have already seen the bad part of social media, you should still give it a chance again and try to influence or create awareness for your peers around you and let them know that you went through this, but you don't want them to go through that same thing. So they should be aware of what is happening on social media. At the same time, they should know their limits on social media. How about changing it?
Okay, as Morocco has said, I think if you're not finding the positive impact on your life through social media, you can then desist from it, because if you desist totally, you have prevented any harm or whatsoever that will come your way. And I want to give some examples of certain apps I use personally. Some are Encounter. They are like some applications, Khan Academy. We have this spelling, quizzes, Millionaire, and others. So it can really help you positively.
So, Kojo, you would like to hear your advice?
My advice to you and everybody watching that, yes, we are all growing up and we want to be responsible adults in the future. So, social media is good, but there are a lot of negatives out there. So, I would encourage us that when we have the opportunity, let's project the positive one, so that when you grow, when you are now old, you'll be proud of some of the things you did on social media. And one thing is, social media never forgets. If you are doing wrong things now, by the time you are 40 and 50, some of these things will pop up. And maybe today, if you want to travel outside the country, they search on your social media accounts. Even if you want to vie for any prominent position in Ghana, they look out for your social media handles. So you may want to be careful the things you do out there, so that it may not affect you in the near future. And there's some parents who are also exposing their piece on social media, especially on TikTok. You see them playing certain songs for their kids as young as, let's say, 5 or 6. And when you listen to the kind of lyrics these children are saying, you ask yourself if they really understand. But for trends and views and other stuff, we see parents encouraging their children to do that, which is very bad. I don't subscribe to that. At times, we even find teachers who go on TikTok live while they are teaching, escorting children of other people to the public, which is very, very bad. So yes, social media is good, but as a parent, you need to educate your child about the negatives and positive. Nobody is saying social media is bad. It is very good. It is very, very good, I might say more, because we do business. People are making money from that and not like that. So guide them and also educate them about the disadvantages and advantages.
All has been said well and right. So, Noko, Jamila, and Kojo, do you have any acknowledgements you want to, or shout outs you want to give out there?
I just want to say thank you to my mom and dad.
Okay, shout outs to you, Kendra, to Noko, and to Jamila.
I want to say shout out to my mom and dad, and also my fellow students watching.
So we are watching this generation show, and we have come to the end of our discussion with Kojo, Jamila, and Noko, and we are proudly sponsored by HD Plus, the Fili Fili experience, and supported by Niche Education Support for all your affordable supplies, and Zealand Fun World, a fun place at the Legon City. See you next week, same time. Bye.